Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our YouTube viewers. Today, in our series of Meet the Masters, we are going to meet a very interesting person from Isha Yoga. As you all may know, Isha Yoga is now spread all over the world. Hemal is our guest today. He lives in Leicester. He is a very strong follower and also a master in Isha Yoga. He went for the Isha Yoga programs at a very young age and he did all the programs right from Upayoga, Surya Kriya, Angamardana to Samyama. Today we are going to discuss about every program in detail. I am sure it will be very enlightened to all of us. I will welcome Hemal and we are going to hear from his own words on his starting journey. Welcome Hemal.
Wonderful, Anand. I really appreciate this opportunity to be here. So my name is Hemal and I'm a Isha Hatha yoga teacher. And I did get into yoga at a very young age. So I remember when I was at university in my first year, I was studying pharmacy. And I first came across yoga on TV when I saw Baba Ramdev do the 7 pranayams. That was my first, my first sort of insight into yoga, and that's when I got my first experience of like what yoga is. And I continued these practices, and I found that I certainly benefited a lot. I remember when it came to the exams at university in my 4th year, there were so many people were stressed out. Some people even had blackouts. But for me, like I was so calm. I could really feel the benefits, of my practices. So even on the day of my exams, I would do my pranayam and then go. So and it just made me so fearless in terms of I just did my best, and then it didn't matter to me what the consequences were. So this is the power that yoga gave to me. And after that, it was just it was just so amazing, But eventually, so after my university days, like I shifted from university to work, and it was a big shift for me because, for the first time I was actually doing full-time work, and in that first year, I was studying pharmacy, so we have what's called a pre-registration exam. And in this year, you have to work full time and you have to study and you have an exam at the end. So, and plus on top of that, like I had moved out of home for the first time. So it was a very challenging experience. And I found that certainly the yoga helped. But this was the first time when I actually was challenged like this. And I really did struggle to focus. And I remember the time when I was on TV, when I was watching TV with my father, like he switched the channels and then I saw Sathguru for the first time. Then immediately I saw a Baba or yogi speaking very clear English, and it just grabbed my attention. So after that, I was just surprised by the wit and the wisdom that Sadhguru had. And after that, for me, like there was no going back because I felt like I just kept watching further YouTube videos, and then I eventually did the inner engineering program, which is this was a powerful program where you learn the Shambhavi Mahamudra practice, which is a 21-minute practice. So after I learned this practice, I really felt like, for some reason, like I mean, how can I explain this? It was like I felt like in sync within myself, like suddenly my body, mind, and everything was just aligned, and I felt like everything like I wanted to do just started happening. It's like at work, like suddenly I made so much good relationships with my staff, the community. So I mean, the relationships improved. I had good relationships, but they improved, and simply because I was just simply more happier, and and I had my ability to solve problems, like improved because I had the capacity to really like to go out of my way to deal with things. The energy level is mainly due to the extra energy levels that I had to do the practice. That's what made a big difference. And after doing that, after receiving so many benefits, I did continue to progress in my career as well. I took on, as a pharmacist, I used to work locum work, and then after that, I even did a superintendent position for a short time. So it was a huge benefit, and I started also to offer some free sessions to people on a monthly basis, so that to give them a taste as well of what yoga is. And then eventually it came to the point where I just wanted to dive deeper, because it was just, the benefits were just there. I wanted to know, like, spend further time into this for myself, so that for me it was important to have a strong foundation. I felt like it's important to have a strong foundation in life if you want to do anything. And the most important thing is to work upon yourself in terms of, like, work upon your body, mind, and, to enhance yourself. Only if you enhance yourself, I believe that you can, achieve what you want in life. So for me, this was very important. So I kind of, eventually I decided to do the Isha Hatha Yoga teacher training, which was in 2015. This was a 6-month residential program at the Isha Yoga Center in Coimbatore. And it was like, obviously I just went there. I didn't really have any expectations of exactly what it is. I kind of just turned up to the program. And this program was definitely challenging in all dimensions, in both physically, mentally, emotionally. It really challenged me in all aspects. And we were doing yoga twice a day, every day. And, it was a very disciplined program, but it was fun at the same time. I remember, like, every day we would have to make sure, like, our program would start around 5:30 in the morning. And we would do morning practices, evening practices, and many other activities in between. So it was a very intense schedule, but what I found was, regardless of how many things we did, the yoga, doing the yoga it just enhanced our ability to take on more things, and to made us more efficient to do things. So it's like, simply with the yoga, it just made me realize how empowering it is for a human being. And obviously after that, like, I remember, like, once I finished the program, it was I just didn't realize, like, how quickly I'd just gone by, and I was simply sitting there just doing my practices, and then suddenly, like, I remember, like, how it was just so amazing how blissful I felt. It was just unbelievable. Like, I really felt like, all this has come together now, and like, I could really feel like wow, like, this is really amazing. I really just, this is just fantastic. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it's just like, and especially the balance it gave me. I think that was the biggest thing that happened, was the balance it gave me. Like was just phenomenal. Like, it's really just too fantastic. And then after finishing my training, I continued to stay and did some more voluntary work. And I continued to stay further. I stayed there for a few more months. So it ended up being a 20-month trip, doing some voluntary work. And in between, I did some other trips as well. So it was a phenomenal experience. And after going through this experience, I decided to come back to UK, back to Leicester. And since then, so since I was back in 2017, we've been doing some yoga sessions here. So we started small, where I started some free sessions, and then I eventually, I met another person who was also willing to help. So her name was Gurjit, and I actually met her. This was in London, and then she kind of, contacted me and then said, let's, I can help you do yoga. So since then, like she got her friends together and we kind of just formed a class. So then we had her friends started coming regularly for yoga classes. And then we had like weekly yoga classes going. And this was like our first time we actually I managed to was teaching yoga classes on a regular basis like this. And then after that we thought, let's take this further because the obviously after experiencing yoga, I felt like I wanted to spread it as much as possible. So what I did was with Gurjit we were doing classes, and to further expand our classes we continued to doing further we tried promotions, we tried to promote classes as much as possible. And then later on we had another person joining us. His name is Balwant, and he also we thought that he also shared the same vision of bringing well-being to people, so he joined us. And since like then we have formed our company, which is Enlighten, and we want to spread obviously well-being to as many people as possible. Now, so we're trying to do yoga as much as possible. Now, so the Enlighten itself, we're trying to, there's two aspects to Enlighten. So one is like the more charity side, so we give a lot of free yoga sessions to people. And at the moment, like we were before, we're doing many free sessions, obviously once the lockdown came, we couldn't do the physical free sessions, but we still continued online. Now, as well as that, we also have the entrepreneur side of our business, where we try to, obviously our objective is to promote yoga, but at the same time, the money needs to flow in. So we do paid yoga sessions as well to teach, further certain yoga practices which take much longer to learn and which is a lot more time consuming. We do this on a paid basis. But as well as that, like the company is geared towards towards well-being. So the heart of the company is yoga, but we're willing to to branch out into other forms of well-being as well. So we're still looking into this. We don't exactly know where exactly will lead us, but definitely yoga will always be the heart of everything that we do.
Thank
So
you, Hemal. That's very nice. That's a very nice journey and so inspiring for anyone who is watching this video. I'm going to dive deep into the every aspect which you have said. Let us drive back to your younger age. So,
yes.
is there any of your family members already into yoga, or is that TV program is the only one which you are inspired? And after you got inspired, did you manage to inspire your parents or any of your family members to join this?
So for me, it's been, well, if you talk about my family members, it's been like my family members always on and off at the moment. Like my father himself, he does the yogas. He's still doing the pranayams that I used to do before, before I started doing the Isha yoga practices. My father is still doing the Baba Random pranayams, but he's always on and off. I try to inspire him as well to do it consistently, but we have to like obviously I try to inspire my family, but they will go to the extent that it's comfortable for them. I try to bring in that to help them that and make them understand that yoga should be done regularly. It is something that we should incorporate in our lives regularly. It's just as important. Like I feel like as part as it should simply be like as part of your daily living. Simply like if you brush your teeth every day, you clean your teeth every day. So yoga is about cleaning your inside every day. You're cleaning your system from within. So I feel this is just as important for every human being to clean yourself within. So my family is a work in progress, but definitely like they have also noticed the difference. They notice that I'm more calm, and that's why they still they will do it. but yeah, I mean, it's a long-term work in progress.
That's very nice. And once we convince our family, I think that's very important because a person can't grow on himself. He should be able to be supportive to his family and vice versa. And if a family performs yoga, that will be more healthier, more supportive to each other, and that will really help us to reach better heights. Let us take it into your early experiences in Coimbatore. Obviously, you may not have visited Coimbatore before. I know Coimbatore very well because I lived and practiced there. And the food and the language, Tamil, and few other things will be quite alien to you in the starting days. Tell us some interesting events or at least the challenges you faced with the local dialects or the food habits.
So actually, when I first came to Coimbatore, I like, for me, obviously after going through the programs, like I just wanted to be there. Like I didn't really think about what challenges could be there. I just wanted to be there, and that was it. I didn't have any sort of concerns or fears as such. Obviously, when I got there, like yes, there was people who in Coimbatore, the language is Tamil. The main mother tongue language is Tamil. So there were people speaking in Tamil. So I was in a different culture, but at the same time, many people in Coimbatore do speak English as well. So that was okay for me. I managed to. That's what really helped me at the end of the day. And and obviously the place I went, the Isha Yoga Center, that is a global place. So people from all over the world come there. So definitely English, because of the English language, like that kind of reduced these barriers. However, the interesting thing was like somehow like even if someone is speaking a different language, like I learned to sort of connect with them or some understand them simply by the body language. As if you're doing some particular task, like you can sort of tell what they're exactly what the intention is and what I mean. It's not to explain, but the body language is also was very was also was very it was very interesting to me that I could still understand a few things, maybe not comprehensive in a very comprehensive way, but still I could understand some very few things. The only words I still understand in Tamil is Anna and Akka. This one thing I understand. So, Anna means brother and Akka means sister. So, so it was definitely a very interesting insight. And yeah, I mean, there were some times when I remember like when I used to visit the city center and things were, uh, you know, if things were, I was and people like only understood Tamil, then I would have to say, like, Anna, where is this, bus to this place? I could, even the good thing was like people still understand like a few basic words of English, even if they don't understand fully. And we somehow communicated, and it was very interesting. And I found like the people were very friendly, very down to earth, you know, and, always willing to help. So that was very interesting. And it was actually now that you mention it, I remember like when we visited a small village in Tamil Nadu. This was when we visited a village. I was with some few other people as well, and they were also from foreign countries. And I found like I was so surprised by how welcoming they were. Like we were complete strangers to them. Yeah, but still the people, the children, like the children were so excited just to see us. Like they were just jumping up and down, and like the people were like willing to welcome us to their homes, and it was just so wonderful to see how down to earth people are. In this part of the world, like I didn't expect like. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but I was just so humbled by simply by the warm welcome that I had.
That's very nice. Very nice experience, Hemal. I'm sure many viewers who are seeing this program will be quite kindled to join this residential program in Isha Yoga. Coming to the food, I know that Isha serves quite a sattvic food, vegetarian
Yes.
food, and also I think there are some specific timings, something like twice a day, Something starts around 10:30 or 11 in the morning and then once more in the evening. Do you had any interesting experiences of missing the food?
Yes, I remember like this was I remember like yes, there were times when I did miss the food, especially in probably the beginning. And so I learned to understand like this I learned to respect the timings of the food. So it was a good experience for me because obviously for the place itself, like it's important that things are done on time because of the obviously so many people come to eat, and so the arrangements need to happen properly. So the timings were very important, and I remember I do missing. It was a good lesson to learn, and I felt like it was definitely something I took on board after that. It's like I was always made sure I was on time. And I learned to respect the place because it's important that wherever you go, you respect the place for what it is and what it offers. And you have to make all the rules that the place has. You have to make it your rules. That's the only way. I feel like you can really you know be in yoga with the place. So when I'm in yoga, I'm talking about being union with the place. To become one with the place, you have to accept it the way it is, and eventually, that's what happened. And there was no going back after that. I really loved the food. It was so delicious. I mean, I I remember like after every meal, I just felt so satisfied. It was so unbelievably good. It was like I think it was just combined with the place, the atmosphere, the yoga, and then you have such delicious sattvic food, fresh out the kitchen. The food is served fresh out the kitchen. You know, and it was so wonderful. Like I just it was just so beautiful, really.
I know the Isha is located in such a place that if you miss a food, you can't just like that go out and have a food from a nearby hotel, and you need to really, really, it's almost like a fasting for you till you get a chance for the next time. Tell us about the early rising habits in Isha, Hemal. Are you a early riser from your childhood, or is it something you absorbed from Isha? Was it a big challenge, or are you still practicing early rising?
So early rising. Well, yeah, I think for me, like I wasn't never an early riser or I would call I wasn't. I'm not saying early riser or a late riser, or I kind of just woke up whenever like I woke up. Really, I didn't really have any sort of. It just depends on what the situation was, and you know, I would say I'm still the same today. However, obviously, like the difference is that from going to the Isha yoga program, I learned that the obviously those in those times I had to write early. There was no question about that. So that what really made me do was that really gave me the discipline and the for the for to do that. But it wasn't just about a discipline, right? I felt like the biggest change that happened was the energy levels that I had. So because like by doing yoga consistently, I felt like the I was a lot more like I would say a lot more restful throughout the day. I had less friction throughout the day. I was a lot more there was a lot more energy, throughout the day. And because of that, if there's less friction throughout the day, and if you're at ease throughout the day, then what I notice is that you will need less sleep throughout the day, because at night when you need less sleep, the reason for this is because the reason why so many people need so many sleep is because throughout the day they go through so much stress, and when you go through a lot of stress during the day, then what happened is the sleep is actually a time when you need to recover from that stress. So the more stress that you have gone through throughout the day, the more sleep technically you will need. You will need a lot more sleep to recover. So for me, that recovery time was much less because I was so joyful throughout the day. So and it was the sleep reduced a lot. So I remember like I used to sleep a lot. I remember like I used to sleep probably like good 6 to 8 hours maybe a day before, and that dropped a lot just to 6 hours. Some days I was just sleeping 4 hours and getting up. that's how crazy I mean that's how rejuvenated I was. I was literally like, there was some points where I feel like if a person practices yoga with the correct sort of diet, yeah, and has and learns to live with ease throughout the day, then certainly your sleep quota can get reduced, and you'll naturally become, if your sleep quota reduces, then you have more hours throughout the day. So whether generally, like it's good to wake up early, I would say, generally, but obviously it depends on what kind of lifestyle you have, what you're doing. But for me personally, like I feel good when I wake up early, because it just means that I have more hours throughout the day, and I have more. That at the end of the day, I think we as human beings, we want to make the most of our lives. So I think waking up early makes allows me to make most of my day. So I'm very fortunate for going through this training, which has really opened me up to this possibility. Really.
That's very nice. I think and I understand this as something like a battery. Our body has got an internal battery which is having the pranic energy. If you use the pranic energy very selectively, very cautiously, you will have plenty of reserve. You won't feel drowsy in the evening. You don't have to drink the caffeinated drinks to boost you up or make you aware of yourself. And your sleep quota will be very less, and you can get back the pranic energy by sleeping for very shorter time. And now, since you're in Leicester, what is your life pattern? What is your advice, and what time a person needs to get up if they have to do a good session of yoga and meditation in the morning? What's your advice?
So my advice would be to, I think, first, initially when you start to learn something, especially something like yoga, it's important that you have some discipline beginning, because for you to really, it's just like initially, like say when we were at a young age, right? Let's say in the beginning, like we may have our parents to help us to brush our teeth, yeah. Then after some time, then we really realize what the benefits of brushing the teeth, and we did that automatically ourselves. So I feel with yoga, initially you need to you need to make sure like you set yourself, okay, I've learned this new practice, okay, so I'm gonna continue this practice for a certain period of time. So in yoga we normally say a mandala is like 40 days. This is the time it takes for a person to get used to learning something which is new. So we always advise a person to do the practices twice a day or once a day, every day for about 40 days or so that they can really feel what the benefits of these practices were, to really feel, what the practice is doing to them. So I feel like initially, yes, if they will need some discipline. And in terms of time of getting up, and in yoga, we do recommend, certain times, but so what I would say is like, generally, obviously, generally your lifestyle has to be adjusted according to, I mean, everyone's lifestyle is different, but in yoga, what we say is that we normally divide the time. We call the best time to get up would be like the Brahma Muhurtam in yoga, which is probably the time between 4:30 to 5:30 generally a.m. Or then after that, there's different times that are divided throughout the day. So even if you can't get up between that time, then 5:30, you know you know so is a good time as well. Now the main purpose of this is that, see, in yoga we believe that you should be in sync with nature. You should be in sync with the solar system. You should be in sync with the sun, which is the source of all life on the planet. And there is a certain, the more in sync we are in with nature, the more well we will be. It's as simple as that. So the sun rises, ideally we should be getting up, before so that we can catch the sunrise, because the sun rising has a certain impact on our system. And it's very important to see that. I mean, you can experiment yourself, like when you wake up at 5:30, see how you feel. And if you wake up slightly later during the day, let's say at 9:30, see how you feel. The system will be very different. So you feel like if you wake up earlier in the morning, you feel a lot more refreshed, a lot more energized, and so that is a difference. And definitely after doing the yoga practices, you'll be absolutely rejuvenated and in the best position to start your day. And the same thing I go with is throughout the day as well. Like it's important to like sleep on appropriate time as well, because and also eat on time as well, dinner, because generally if you go by the sun, then we see that the sun sets in the evening. That's when we should have, obviously around the evening time we should be having our dinner as well. So we shouldn't be eating too late and then going straight to bed, because that is not good for health. So generally after eating, we should leave about 2 to 3 hours of gap at least, so that we have sufficient time for digestion to happen, and then go to sleep. So if you have to maintain a certain routine, then this is a good way where you wake up. If you can't wake up around 5, that's fantastic. And if you can go bed not too late, then that really helps as well. So that, because there's a certain pattern, if you go to sleep early, you will wake up early. So it is good if you can't maintain that, or if not, you try your best to, as much as possible, to do this. But you'll find that it certainly helps a lot. To if you want to really make the most out of your day, then it's important that you learn to be in tune with nature and to the sun, which is the source of life.
That's very well said. That nothing equal to in sync with sunrise and sunset, and it will automatically fix our brain and body in unison with the nature. That's very nicely explained. Say, for example, Hemal, if a person is quite naive and never exposed to yoga and meditation, what is the approximate time frame they needed in the morning? Say, for example, if they get up at 5:30, as you said,
Yeah.
do you think they will be done with all the Surya Kriya and yoga meditation in couple of hours so that they can start their job by 7:30?
Yes. So I mean, you can't. So you have to adjust your practices according to your work, or So if you do start at 7:30, if your work starts if you need to leave for work at 7:30, then you need to adjust your schedule according to that. So depending on what practice you're doing, how many practices you're doing, so according to that, like some people may need 1 hour, some people may need 2 hours, or some people who are doing more yoga, they may need 3 hours. So depending on how much you can fit in, according to that, you can adjust. So so for example, if you need to start work at 7:30, then you may need to leave your home, say about 7. So then you should do your yoga practices. Then you can get up around 4 o'clock, which is in Brahma Muhurtam, which is the best time to wake up. And you can start your yoga maybe around 4:30 or 5, depending on how much time you need to before that to get ready. And then you could still have a good 1 or 2 hours at least before you start work. So it is definitely possible. It is 100% possible if you're willing to do it. If even for me, I myself, I'm working as well, and I certainly managed to fit my yoga in. And I know, I think with people, it's general, like once they experience what yoga is and how it benefits them, they will invest time in it. So I think just the initial part where they have to you have to really give yourself to the process first, and then after that, trust me, there will be no going back.
In Inlighten program, Hemal, so
Yeah.
what is your training? How many hours a person needs in the weekdays? Of course, people will have more time to spend on Saturday and Sunday. What is the exact teaching, Hemal? Is there anything like initial starters course, and then after a couple of months, once they stick to the coaching and time frame, you will slowly build them up to a higher level of training?
So we offer yoga. We offer different types of programs. Okay. Now, we are offering practices which are suitable for beginners. The best way we think is to offer Upa Yoga and some guided meditations, as I feel like these practices are very easy to grasp and they don't take very much to learn. Literally, in one session, or even like in just some practices is such where even just 10, 10, 15 minutes it takes to just learn the practice. So I feel this is a very important and a very simple way to start yoga. For someone who hasn't done anything, if they really want to start, then this is the easiest way to start. And at the moment, what we're doing is we're offering free yoga, which we are teaching Upa Yoga and guided meditations online. And we're doing this on every Sunday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now, we've been doing these practices I've been doing these sessions for quite some time now. It's been the online practices that we started as soon as the lockdown happened, and everything. So we've been going on for quite some time, probably since last July 2020, and we have nice consistent group of people coming every Sunday, coming to join our sessions, and they simply, what they find is that what they've shared with me is that the participants, they find that this is the best way to start their week on a Sunday night. It's like they feel really rejuvenated, and when on Monday morning they're just ready to start their week. So this is how it's been. And as well as this, obviously before the lockdown happened, like we were, as in part of Enlighten, we were offering Upa Yoga and guided meditations, our beginners program, to many different places in Leicester. So what we did was we applied for a grant from the National Lottery Fund, and what we were trying to do was we were trying to offer to people who live in deprived areas, because as the statistics show that people in deprived areas are, the health and the economic status is quite, they were quite vulnerable in terms of health and many other ways, deprived in so many ways. So health is definitely one thing they're deprived. So what we decided to do was to go into these areas and try to teach the local, to the communities, the yoga. So we have been doing, we were teaching into, there were 6 different areas we were teaching, 3 to 6 areas. Okay, we started with, we have about 6 different areas in Leicester we were teaching. And yes, and we had a good response. Some areas responded more than others. So I felt like this was a good way, and it showed like a lot of people were looking for something, it just showed like a lot of people are just simply looking for something for their well-being, and that was quite heartening to see that it's it's for every human being wants to be well, so definitely Enlighten, what Enlighten does is it wants to bring yoga to every person who has no idea what yoga is. We want to bring the yoga to, even if you don't know what yoga is, that's absolutely fine. You can easily join our sessions. Anytime, you're welcome to join our sessions. So that is our general, for beginners. And as well as that, we do have a lot more we teach a lot more profound practices, which require a lot more of your time, because these practices requires a lot more time to learn and grasp the practice. So, for example, we have the Surya Kriya practice, which is coming soon. So we're hoping that we can offer the practice very soon, as soon as the government, the lockdown rules and everything, start to come down. So the Surya Kriya practice that we're offering, this is a very powerful practice. So many people will probably know about the Surya Namaskar practice. That's probably the sun salutation practice. Is probably the most common name that people know. Now, Surya Kriya is known as the original sun practice. So this was always the practice which was always passed down from master to disciple in very close circles, and it was done in close circles, and And what happened was once like the masters decided to pass on the practices to the wider community, then what they found was that the Surya Kriya practice, it takes a lot of attention, and even the master needs to give that attention to the participants. But when you have masses of people, it's very difficult to pass on such a integrated practice. So they thought it's probably safer and better for everyone's well-being to you know to pass on a practice which doesn't take as much attention to learn, which is still beneficial, still have physical benefits, still has many other benefits, but it takes less attention. So that's how the Surya Namaskar came about, where where it's a lot more easier to learn, but at the same time, like you can still feel the benefits of the practice. And so that practice is still being practiced everywhere worldwide today. But what we're offering is Surya Kriya, which is the original sun practice. Now this offers a lot more depth. Whereas the Surya Namaskar practice offers definitely the physical benefits and the psychological benefits. There are some spiritual benefits as well. But the Surya Kriya practice offers far more depth in terms of the balance it gives you, the focus it gives you, the balance it gives you, and it has a much more deeper impact in the long term, especially when you do the practice. It is something. There are very few, as Sadhguru says, there are very few parallels to the Surya Kriya practice that can train your body and mind in such a way. So I feel like it's a phenomenal empowerment, and it's a 21-minute practice. Eventually the practice will take 21 minutes to do. Initially, it may only take you 10 minutes, but you slowly, as you get more practice, as you practice more, it can take up to 21 minutes. So this practice, I feel like it's a phenomenal empowerment to people, and I hope many people do take it up, because it can change their lives, for the in a phenomenal way.
Thank you, Hemal. Surya Namaskar, people used to do in a multiple times. Like I know sometimes they used to say we used to do Surya Namaskar at least 3 times in the morning or 5 times in the morning. Maybe in the weekend people tends to do 21 times or 108 times. Regarding Surya Namaskar also, we need to do multiple times, or we can just do Surya Namaskar and then go ahead with other practices.
Okay, so are you talking about you're talking about just Surya Namaskar or Surya Kriya?
Surya Namaskar.
Surya Namaskar. Okay. So your question is your question is, can we do Surya Namaskar multiple times?
Yes.
That's your question. Throughout the day, is that, or?
No, just in the morning. What I tend to practice is I will do one round of Surya Kriya or Surya Namaskar and go ahead with other yoga practices and then sit for meditation. But there are some groups which perform Surya Namaskar itself multiple times, like 3 times, 5 times, maybe in the weekends, even 21 times. What is your take on it?
So it depends what you mean by them practicing 3 times, 5 times, 21 times. Do you mean like they practice throughout the day, or in one session they practice 21 cycles?
21 cycles, yeah, that's what I mean. One full cycle and then repeat it again for 21 times.
Okay, so I'll come to this. So in terms of the practice itself, so the Surya Namaskar practice, we generally say first of all it needs to be done on empty stomach condition. That's so that's one thing. So morning and evening, is a good way to do it, throughout the day, especially with most people who are probably working during the day. So morning and evening is good times. Now, if you are doing it at one time, so Surya Namaskar practice itself can be done. So you can actually, so the Surya Namaskar practice, you can do it multiple times. Now, this depends on, there's a certain way of going about this, okay? So there's a certain number of, there's certain sequences, that, for example, you can do you can do 12 cycles of Surya Namaskar like this. So you can do you have to, it has to be done in a certain way, you know. So you can't, yes, the answer is yes, you can do more than one Surya Namaskar cycle, okay. So but it has to be, it has to be in line with, how all yoga practices should be in line with, like they should always be done the way it should be done. So what I'm trying to say is, like, fundamentally, I think it's like,
You mean the
how you,
postures and alignments should be maintained, isn't it?
yes, that yoga should be done. It's not. It's about how you do the yoga. It's not just about getting into the physical postures, as many people think. How you do the yoga is very important. So it should be done, in as so. So in the past, the masters always took care to pass down the practices as they are without making any distortions. So for thousands of years, yoga has been passed down from master to disciple, just the way it is. Now it takes a lot in a human being to keep the practice, just the way it is, without distorting in any way. It takes a lot in a human being to do that. So because of this purity of the way that people were living, I mean, the way that they were living yoga, and with the way they were passing on the practices. So it's important that we keep this tradition up where we don't distort the practices. We simply, we have to acknowledge the practice for what it is and keep it the way it is, and follow it, doing it properly. So if the yoga namaskar, if the Surya Namaskar needs to be done in a certain way, we must do it that way. That including everything, whether it's number of cycles you do, or and how you do it, and in every way it needs to be kept in a certain way. So as long as you maintain the sanctity of, you have to understand that when something profound is given to you, then you have to keep it in a certain way. So that's very important that the people kind of understand this.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
absolutely. What about the other higher practices like Angamardana, Hemal? Is it possible for someone to do Angamardana daily, or is it time consuming and reserved only for the weekends?
Yes, Angamardana can be done daily, and that's definitely possible. So all the practices we offer can be done daily now. Now Angamardana is a very different practice, where if you compare Surya Kriya and Surya Namaskar and Angamardana, then Angamardana is a lot more physical practice. When I mean a physical practice, it you'll see, like, one thing is definitely it requires a lot more physical intensity in terms of to do the practices. That's one thing. But in terms of the practice itself, like the Anga Madana is as the name suggests, is the Anga means limb, and Madana means killing the limb. So literally means like you're killing the limbs. So the word Anga Madana means killing the limbs. So what that really means by the only way you can what it means by killing the limbs, what we're really talking about is mastering the limbs. So if you master the limbs, then what that's trying to say is that you are the master of your system, because you will have more control over your own system. Your system in so many ways, your physical system, your energy system, and also your even it also has a impact on your mental system as well. So that's what Angamadana is based on mastering your system. Now the difference is, like, Angamadana is a lot more focused on the physical benefits of having, it will give you a lot more physical benefits. There are some spiritual benefits to us as well. Definitely Angamadana is a spiritual benefits, but if you really want spiritual benefits, then you do something like Surya Kriya, which has the benefits of Surya Kriya would be like the what do you call it, the balance that it gives you within, That's for you to go through your day-to-day life, that within. So that's like it's very phenomenal, and you know so that's what it is. But in terms of the practice, Angamadana, can it be done by everybody? 100% yes. And the beautiful thing about Angamadana is, one thing is that the different the when we teach Angamadana, there are four parts to Angamadana, and even if you do not have time to do all of Angamadana, you can do a part of it. So that is the beautiful thing. So generally when someone starts to learn Angamadana, it may take them up to 40 minutes to an hour to, if they want to do everything. If they if someone feels like, oh, I don't have time to this, then the good thing about Angamadana is you can actually do parts of it. So you may be able to do just one aspect of it, and which may only take you 10 to 15 minutes, which may be a easier way to start for some people. And we've actually had classes where we offered Angamadana as well, and people have greatly benefited for them. And one of the examples I will share with you is the one other person that is working with me, Gurjit. She actually felt as well that Angamadana really helped her a lot, and she felt a lot more balanced, and flexibility certainly improved. And also, she felt like definitely as a woman, for her, like all her all her cycles within were in place as well, that the cycles that women go through, and that was a real surprise for her, because so many years she was struggling, and suddenly her system was in sync. She felt like everything was in sync, and now she has become such a phenomenal example where herself, she also wakes up very early. She wakes up in Brahma Muhurtam every day, practicing Angamadana, practicing Surya Kriya, has become a wonderful example for many people, and especially women, to follow.
That's a very good example. I'm sure she is an inspiring person for the people to follow. Take us through other higher practices like Samyama and any meditative techniques which you are teaching, Hemal.
So now the obviously you mentioned Samyama. So Samyama is a program which is offered at the Isha Yoga Center. Now, for this program, like you have to be practicing Surya Kriya, Surya Namaskar, and you have to be practicing the yogasanas, as well as a few other practices. So once you learn these set of practices, and then you can go and do the Samyama program, which is at the Isha Yoga Center. Now, the purpose of, if you talk about the Samyama program, then this is like a 8-day silence program at the Isha Yoga Center. And the reason why the reason why people need to do the yoga before coming to the program is because of to prepare your system. Because for many people, like it would be easy to simply sit and meditate, and sit in silence for continuous length of time. So yoga, the hatha yoga, it kind of prepares your body and mind to give that balance, to give that stability, so that to give that endurance, where you can simply, you have the power to do what you want. So even if you want to sit, for a good stretch of time, you can do it with ease. So that's why once you come in with the yoga practice, once you practice yoga for a certain period of time, and then you will be prepared to sit in meditation, to sit in meditation. So that's what everything is, that's what we're trying to do. So the Sathguru says, like, you cannot do meditation, but you can become meditation. So meditation is not something that we can simply just do, but you can cultivate your body, you can cultivate your mind. You can cultivate, once you cultivate your body, mind, and energies, then meditation will naturally happen, because that's a consequence of how you've kept your body, mind, and energies. If you've kept yourself in a certain way, then naturally you become meditative, because that is the only way. So this will definitely happen if you do the right things with yourself. Now, if you talk about what we're offering here, so what we're offering is we're definitely offering some very simple tools, like like the beginner's practice, as we talked about, the Upa Yoga guided meditations, which give you, it's some instant taste of what yoga is and what the benefits. You can experience them instantly. And as well as that, we offer you a more very profound practices like Surya Kriya, and and Anga Mardana, which is a phenomenal practice, which will, even in terms of just physically fitness wise, it will do huge benefits for you. So these practices, we are offering will lead you to in that direction of becoming meditative, and you see, like, definitely, I feel like it'll make a huge difference in how one perceives life and how one experiences life, because I think that's the whole purpose of, we here come to live. We want to live to the fullest of our, we want to experience life we want to experience everything in its entirety. We want to. So it's important that what yoga does is gives us this power where suddenly we are so open to life and we can live with ease, and this is what we're trying to work towards.
That's very nice. I think the Samyama method of meditation seems to be more to do with sitting in silence. In your experience, Hemal, have you seen the Samyama course happening in Coimbatore when you were there? So, how many hours people need to sit, and any experience from your colleagues or your friends?
So yes, so definitely for Samyama, like I also done it myself as well. So I found that definitely, I remember that I've done Samyama twice myself. The first time when I did Samyama, I kind of struggled a little bit because I didn't come with so much preparation. But the second time I did it, I was a lot more prepared, and when I did it, the experience was just so phenomenal. It was just, I was so much at ease. It was just like it's hard to describe. I was, even if you just like, I was just I was sitting in one place doing my just going through the instructions, going through the meditation, and simply, like, I remember, like, simply watching my breath became such an incredible experience. Like, I never paid attention to my breath like the way I did when I was doing my Samyama. Like, I didn't realize like how, like, I didn't realize like how phenomenal our breath is. I just, it didn't. I mean, I can't explain how the experience was just. I was to even literally, like, there was tears in my eyes were coming out when I was just watching my breath, simply because it was so, in my experience, it was so beautiful and so fulfilling just to watch. I can't even describe the words. I mean, it's just so phenomenal. It's just something I felt like, how can I miss this? How can any human being miss this? That was my, how can I miss? How this was such a phenomenon is happening. Like, our breath, it's been happening since birth. Since I was born, that this breath was here, and I've never noticed it like this. What is this? It was just it was so touching for me. Like, and for me, it has been a life changer. Samyama, has been a life changer for me. That, that's what really touched me. And after that, it's like it's one thing. It's definitely one of the most touching experiences, which makes me doing what I am today. Trying to make this happen to so many people. It's because of this Samyama. The experience is one of the biggest experiences I've ever had in my life, and I wish every human being, it would work towards, experiencing something like this.
That's very encouraging. I'm sure people will take some baby steps to start with Upa Yoga and then extending to Yoga, Sanas, and Angamardana with Surya Kriya, creating a kind of a balance and reaching the Samyama. So, in Samyama during those days, how many hours you used to sit in silence, Hemal? Is it a complete silence or is it completely instructionalized and guided one?
So Samyama it is a complete silence. Okay, so you're in silence for 8 days. So what that means is, like, there'll be no communication. So in no communication means, like, so you're not allowed to speak. Okay, and you don't make, you So there will be instructions given to you. Yes, that is part of the program. So there will be instructions given to you. That is fine. So that is okay. But yourself, you should not be communicating with anyone in any way. So not physically, not with any eye contact, and you should minimize. Not minimize. You simply, yeah, you 100%. You do not talk to anyone, and you simply just go with the program. Just follow the instructions. So it's a very simple way of doing things, but like, if you have prepared yourself and you go through it, then you'll see like the benefits of going through it. It's just phenomenal.
Do you think it is feasible to conduct a Samyama like program in Leicester? Because some people may be really struggling to travel all the way to Coimbatore. And what is your take on doing that? And there should be some absolute requirements, as you said, the people should have practiced yogasanas, Surya Kriya, and Angambardhana for at least a year or two before signing up for Samyama. Is it possible to do it in Leicester?
So the Samyama program actually happens at the Isha Yoga Center in Coimbatore, India, and that's the, yeah, I mean, so thing about the Samyama program is that the Sadhguru is there conducting the program, and the Samyama program requires a live master to do the program. So because the Samyama program, it requires, so it's like the master, the Sadhguru in the Samyama program, he would, it requires his energy in that place. So it requires certain things have to be taken care of, to do the program. It's a very subtle process, and at the moment we only offer it at the Isha Yoga Center. It's only offered there. I mean, there has been a time where it has been done in the USA, in the Isha Institute of Inner Sciences in the USA as well. That is also another place that it has been done, but because of the nature of that program in particular, it's only offered at these two places. I mean, I don't, obviously in the future, I don't know if it'll be offered in any more places, but for now, this is what it is. And because it's a very subtle process and it requires a master's energy in a certain way, so that's why it's not offered, in widespread as such. But yeah, I mean, that's how it is anyway. That's for, as far as I know, that's how it is.
Very nice. You attended Samyama twice. That itself shows how much depth it is and why you got so much attracted to that. I think our interview will never complete without discussing few things on Inner Engineering program, which is the most famous program from the Isha. What's your views on that, Hemal?
So it was this inner engineering program, which definitely was it was just it was the best decision I made, because I remember it was the time when I was talking about earlier, when I was really struggling when I shifted from university to full-time work. That is when I did my inner engineering, and I felt like it was such a huge empowerment. It's just a simple 21-minute practice, but it's in these 21-minute practice. This 21-minute practice can make such a huge impact on everything about you, and just the way that you go about your day, changes. Simply, I felt it's just a huge upliftment for me personally. Has been just the way it's just how I go about my day, and like how I speak to people. And I'm just a lot more joyful, and when you're once you have a lot more energy and you're more joyful, naturally you will do better in everything that you do. Naturally you will be better, and you'll feel better as well. So I feel this experience is needed in every human being, and I feel like every inner engineering is a must for everybody. It does not you don't have to have any prerequisites as well. You just need to, doesn't matter what kind of experience you have, whether you're a beginner to yoga or not. If you do in engineering, then it will be phenomenal. It just sets the foundation for your life to flower. I would certainly highly recommend it, because for me personally, it's really given me a direction in life Like, it has really changed my life for the good. So I'm very grateful for Sadhguru for bringing this into my life.
Thank you, Hemal. Thank you. I've just tried with my ideas to start from very basic program, starting with your early days and gradually climbing up to Samyama and also parallelly looking at inner engineering. Did I missed anything? You want to add anything to our program?
I think, no, we've talked about, many aspects already. So now I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So I think that is everything for now. But yeah, I really enjoyed our session today. It's been very wonderful.
Thank you, Hemal. Thank you for your time. I did share the slides which you have given me on and off during the program. Now, viewers can see the link for traditional Surya Kriya weekend program, and the registrations will happen as soon as the government makes some new announcements on the indoor programs. And as we discussed, the Enlighten free yoga and meditation sessions are available online via Zoom, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Sunday. The email is yoga.enlighten@outlook.com. You can see this in the screen now. Please email and you will be given Zoom link, passcode, and further details. This will be an early step, and once these steps are taken, I'm sure your life will be in track, and this is the way for enlightenment. Thank you very much, Hemal, and I really appreciate your time. We will be very happy to have another session on a later day based upon your timings and the inputs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.